Preparing your transition to university for students with disabilities. This guidance is to give an overview of support for disabled students, how to access that support, and information about how you can prepare for your transition to university life. Disabled students includes those with physical health conditions, mental health conditions, and specific learning differences such as autism spectrum condition, ADHD, dyslexia, and dyspraxia. What we will cover: who can support me at UEA? What adjustments are available? Accommodation, safety and transport. Getting ready to join us. Who can support me at UEA? Support across UEA. There's a wide range of support for students at UEA. This includes the Student Information Zone, known as the SIZ. This is the first place for all inquiries. You can visit the SIZ, which is located on the main street on campus, or contact the SIZ via email, online live chat, or phone. Student support advisors are available in the SIZ to provide information and to signpost you to the appropriate support. Wellbeing advisors have specialisms in mental health, disability, and specific learning differences. They can talk to you about transition to university and throughout your student journey. They cover information such as reasonable adjustments and what other support you may need for your wellbeing and studies. Residential life advisors can support you to settle into UEA accommodation and are on hand in the evenings to offer support if required. Within your school of study, you'll have an academic advisor. They are your go-to person if you need support about academic issues. In addition, each school of study has a disability liaison officer known as a DLO. They are an academic member of staff who has a special interest in disability and well-being and can offer advice on disability within the context of your course. The Learning Enhancement Team, known as LET, offer a range of services including workshops, online study resources, one-to-one tuition sessions including specialist tuition for SPLD and neurodivergent students. Our accessible library provides a range of support including accessible spaces and access to the RNIB Bookshare scheme, where students who are print disabled can access digital versions of reading materials. Getting in touch. The starting point is to get in touch with Student Journey and Support Services as soon as possible, sharing information about your needs by completing the Disability Support Form and providing us with some evidence of need. You will find this on the UEA Wellbeing webpage. You don't have to wait to be offered a place, and it's important to note that sixth forms and colleges don't provide this information on your behalf. The Disability Support Form gives you the opportunity to share information with us about your needs, what support you've had in the past, and what support you think you may need at UEA. Our web pages contain information about available support, with examples of reasonable adjustments and guidance about actions to take as you get closer to the start of your course. Advisors will look at the information you share and will contact you with details about the support you can access at UEA. There is support available, when required, throughout your time at UEA. Advisors can provide advice about managing your studies whilst taking care of your health and well-being. You can contact us at any stage of your student journey for a review of need, and the best way to do that is to email disability@uea.ac.uk. What adjustments are available? As part of our inclusive education policy, certain adjustments are available to all students. All teaching materials should be available electronically and in multiple formats. Course materials should be available in advance so that you can prepare ahead of teaching sessions. Students can take breaks at any point in teaching sessions. You don't have to ask permission to leave the room unless you're in an exam. And many of our teaching sessions are recorded so that you can go back over course materials later on. Reasonable adjustments. Reasonable adjustments are adaptations that are put into place to make sure your course is accessible for your needs. Within higher education, we review reasonable adjustments in the context of student need and the course they are doing. We look at the information that you share with us and we explore what support might be needed. These may include feedback adjustments, coursework extensions, adaptations for group work or presentations, additional academic support, support for field trips or placements. Application of these adjustments will be discussed in more detail with an advisor. Assessment adjustments. You may know these as exam arrangements. Examples of assessment adjustments can include extra time, rest breaks, use of a computer, taking your exam in a room with a smaller number of students or in a separate room, a scribe, a person who will write down your exam answers, a reader, a person who will read aloud your exam questions, a prompt, a person who will bring your attention back to the exam, use of assistive technology such as a screen reader or voice recognition software. Please note, there are limitations to assessment adjustments for certain exams on professional courses, but these can be explored with advisors or academics in your school of study. Non-educational support. When students move to higher education, any kind of care-related non-educational support that may have been provided as a package within your school or college as part of an EHCP, for example, is funded and organised independently of the university. Funding from universities and, for example, Student Finance England only provide support for a student's educational needs. We'll move on to talk about finance and disabled students' allowances shortly. If you have care or living support needs, you should liaise initially with your County Council social care team to explore this. SPLD screening. At UEA, you don't need a formal SPLD, ASC, or ADHD diagnosis to be able to access the support provided by the university. We offer a free screening service for students. You can use this service if you think you might have a specific learning difference, such as dyslexia, dyspraxia, or dyscalculia, or neurodivergence, such as ADHD or ASC. We can also provide information on how to obtain a full diagnostic assessment if that is something in which you are interested. Disabled Students' Allowances, known as DSA. DSA funds equipment and support for disabled students. Students living in England may be eligible for DSA via Student Finance England. Equivalent DSA is funded through Student Finance Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Equivalent funding may also be available if you live outside these areas. Apprenticeship, postgraduate, EU, and international students need to contact Student Journey and Support Services so we can assess your eligibility for alternative funding routes for similar support. DSA funding is organised entirely separately from the university. You can apply to Student Finance, or the equivalent, when you're applying for your course funding. If you aren't applying for tuition fees and living cost loans, you can still apply for DSA. Examples of support might include specialist mentor to support well-being and managing studies, specialist one-to-one study skills to help you develop your academic skills, assistive software, for example, a screen reader, dictation software, and note-taking software, hardware, for example, a laptop to run software. Please note, most students are expected to contribute £200 towards a laptop. Transport funding. For example, taxis if you're not able to use public transport for disability-related reasons. Accommodation, safety, and transport. Accommodation. UEA has a range of accommodation options on campus from which to choose. Ground floor accessible and adapted rooms, deaf-enabled rooms, allergy rooms, flats with a smaller number of students. You can make specific requests such as a quiet flat, room away from the kitchen, or a mini fridge in your room for medication storage. Moving into accommodation can be an exciting time, but also it can be daunting. One of the things the accommodation team do is invite you to join a Facebook group so that you can link up with your new flatmates before the start of term and start getting to know each other. You can also request to move into your accommodation a day early when it's quieter before the main arrivals weekend. You can contact the accommodation team directly with any questions or requests for information. Safety on campus. Norwich is one of the safest student cities in the UK, and the university takes students' safety and well-being extremely seriously. We have a range of measures here at UEA to keep all our students and staff safe. Take a moment to have a look at the different areas highlighted on the screen of the available support to keep you safe on campus, such as campus security, report and support, and Safe Zone. We highly recommend Safe Zone, which is an app that can be downloaded to your phone and can be used to contact urgent support in emergencies or difficult situations. Transport. Students can access UEA via local bus routes, including the Park and Ride. Students who believe they are eligible for reduced parking fees because of their exceptional and extenuating welfare circumstances can apply for a parking permit. This is available once you enrol as a student. For information about parking permits, please see the car parking information on the UEA website or contact transport@uea.ac.uk if you have any questions. Personal Emergency Evacuation Plans, known as PEEPs. If you may have difficulty exiting a building in the event of a fire, such as difficulty getting downstairs, let us know and University Safety Services will get in touch to create a PEEP. Please also contact us if you can use stairs in an emergency but may struggle using stairs on a regular basis because of your disability or health condition. We can share this information with the timetabling team. Access across campus. Accessible routes are marked on campus maps with orange and white dashed lines. These are mirrored on campus, where orange dashed lines painted on the ground indicate the accessible routes. These access routes will avoid stairs and direct you via slopes or ramps. UEA is also well serviced with lift access throughout campus and all rooms are wheelchair accessible. Notification of medical conditions, NOMCs. NOMCs are created for students who have a medical condition or disability that may cause them to be unresponsive on campus. This can include those who experience seizures, anaphylaxis, hypo or hyperglycemia, and other adverse events. Advisors work with students to create a document which is shared with relevant departments at UEA, such as accommodation and security, to inform first aiders and paramedics. Getting ready to join us. Starting university is an exciting time, but it can feel like there's a lot to organise and sort out. It can help to plan ahead and start thinking about some practical things you can do to help with your transition. Transition. Some students may not have lived independently before, so getting used to things like food shopping, keeping a track of your money, and learning how to cook some meals in advance of coming to UEA can be helpful. If you're going to be using public transport, it's a good idea to practice in advance. This might be practicing the specific bus route to campus in Norwich, or just practicing using public transport so it all feels more familiar before term starts. Registering with a GP can take place close to the start of term, but it's a good idea to contact the UEA Medical Centre, if you plan to register, to check about prescriptions. The UEA Resource Centre is full of tips for preparing for university life. Campus environment. A great way to get familiar with the campus is to visit UEA. That may be on an open day, or it could just be a day out where you come onto campus, have a coffee and a walk around campus and the lake to get a feel for the place. Some students who live close enough visit campus a number of times before term starts. For students who can't visit the campus in advance, don't worry. There'll be support on hand from staff and students during Welcome Week to help you find your way around. There are lots of quiet spaces across campus that you can access when needed. Spend some time finding the environments that work for you. Some quiet spaces include the Sainsbury Centre, the Faith Centre, Headspace in the library, and the quiet space in the Student Union building. Some students like to bring aids such as ear defenders, earplugs, or music to help manage the noise if buses or campus are crowded. Other students benefit from wearing hats or sunglasses to manage light sensitivity. The social side. As previously mentioned, If you will be living on campus, you can sign up for the Facebook group to start communicating with flatmates in advance of arrival. You can register for a student union buddy who will make contact with you before you start. See the UEA's Student Union website for more information. Things you can do when you arrive. Get involved in the welcome events running through Welcome Week. There are low sensory options available too. Join a student union club or society. Sometimes having a shared interest can make initial social interactions a bit easier to manage. Think about routines. Your routines will change, and for some students this can feel difficult. Try and build in small routines from early on if they help you, such as setting reminders so that you eat regularly and remember to take medication. Also, make sure you get some quiet time if you need it. We hope that you have found this information helpful. There's a lot to take in, but the key takeaway point is that if you are a student with a disability or long-term health condition, let us know, and we'll discuss your support needs with you. You can contact us either before you join UEA or once you're a student at UEA via the email addresses or website on screen. Thank you for listening and welcome to UEA.